Welcome to another edition of Vintage Drum Restoration Garage. Or as they say in England, Vintage Drum Restoration Garage. However you prefer to say it, that's fine. Today I've got an interesting drum here I thought maybe I'd share with you folks. And at first glance I think it just looks like your basic late 20s, early 30s Ludwig and Ludwig standard street parade drum. But actually it's a little more special than that. This drum has gut snares on the bottom. It's a 15-inch diameter. I believe it's 12 inches deep. It was gold sparkle, faded down to a silvery finish now, which is fine. And look at the fine sparkles in it. I think that's really cool. Has 8 tube lugs. And the thing that makes this drum quite unique, I believe these were only made in 1929. And that actually made me buy this drum, which this handle here. This drum is actually called the Super Power. Let me see what it says in this catalog. Yeah, they call this the Ludwig Super Power Separate Tension Street Drum. I'll show you that in a second here. But what makes it really unique is this drum actually has top snare wires. Yes, they did do that. So you would just move this handle one way for it to go down, one way to go up. I'm not sure if this drum ever had a handle here. I'm not sure. I might make one if I think that it did originally. It's a 3-ply shell, mahogany, poplar, and probably mahogany on the outside, with maple reinforcing rings. And the snares are in perfect condition. Look at that, isn't that cool? So let me show you this old Ludwig drummer newsletter that I have. This newsletter is from June of 1929, which I'm fortunate to own. Ludwig drummer. I don't know if you guys are familiar with those. They put updates in these, and they'd let you know what products are coming out and who was using these drums, a lot of history, what their finishes would be, and different things, banjos, bugles. But now, they were talking about this drum here right before the stock market crash, see? And the Ludwig Super Power Separate Tension Street Drum, $40. And it tells you all about this drum. I'll just give you, if you want to read it, you can sit there and read it. Whoops, battery died. Okay, so on page, I don't know, it looks like about 5 and 6. It gives you a whole updated section on these new era sensitive and new era snare drums, which here's the old model, which is the external throw off here. But then they put everything inside, and there was rods connecting everything on the inside. This is the old one. And that's what we're dealing with here. This is the top snare, but actually on these new eras, they put the bottom snares on the inside as well. So everything was internal. Yeah. So, and they call this one the standard sensitive, which is basically a standard throw off with the super sensitive, or the sensitive, well, the dual throw off. Dual? I guess, yeah, dual throw off. Leedy used that term dual. The top snares, we'll call them, on the top side. So I just thought I'd let you guys see this. I think that they might have put this new era information on in other catalogs, but this would have been the first time that they advertised it, I believe. And this is the drum we're working on here. So if you're a geek on information, these old Ludwig drummers are really great information. You know, everything fell apart. Ludwig had to sell out to Kahn, and the rest is history. So what I thought I'd do today is start taking this drum apart. I want to restore it. And I don't really own street drums or parade drums, whatever you like to call them. I don't own any. I don't have room for them usually, but this one, it was speaking to me, and I thought, I've got to have one of these. And so I went ahead and pulled the trigger on it. I think the person who was selling it did not really know that it had top snares, but maybe it wouldn't matter anyway. But just this mechanism here alone would fetch some pretty heavy change, I would think. I'm not stripping the drum out, but I just thought that there's a lot of people just looking for this mechanism alone. So let me start taking this thing apart, and I'll bring you along. Okay, so I've buffed out the shell. I saved you the boring part of watching me buff. There's plenty of videos of me buffing, if you're ever wondering about that. You can go back into some of my other videos and you'll see my process. Anyway, that's it in the sunshine. It's got a nice glossy look to it, and I lightly went over the badge because it was all green and brown. I guess more brown than green, but anyway, it has a nice shine to it, and of course I can't do anything about the fade, but this is your finished product here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start working on the nickel-plated hardware, and I'll bring you back when I've got some news. Okay, so I'm cleaning this nickel-plated hardware on this drum here, and you can see all this hardware is very old and corroded. If you look up close here, you'll see the corrosion's pretty deep, deeply pitted sort of look. But I take my wheel here and I go over, and then I buff them out with my buffer down there. And here's what I come up with. So they look, you know, really pretty good. Not perfect. We're not looking for perfection. We're looking for very good. When you're restoring these old drums, especially these tube lug drums, or post lug drums as some call them, you'll find that they have cracks in them. I don't know if that's focusing. Where is that crack? There it is. It's a crack going all the way up the side of it. Is that going to affect the tensioning? I don't believe so, because the threads are still there. And that's not going to make any difference. It's more of a cosmetic issue. And so, through the years, I've collected a lot of parts. And I happen to have another set of these lugs. Now, someone went over them with a heavy wheel and took them almost down to the brass, which is kind of a shame. But one of them here is going to be able to take the place of that one. I buffed it out. They went over it with, like I say, a heavy wheel, and it scratched it pretty heavily. So it's not going to get the beautiful luster that this one is. If you put them up against each other, you'll maybe see. But I think I'd rather have this non-cracked one on this drum. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, we've got all 8 lugs on. And I didn't find any other cracked ones, so that's good. Oh, I wanted to add, I think people have been emailing me for, over a year on my Gmail account, and I never go on there. And I was just looking on it today, and I saw all these questions, and I never got back to anybody. I'm really sorry about that. You'll find under my banner that I include my other main email address, my Hotmail account, and if you got any questions, you can contact me there. That's really the best way. But I will try to get to this Gmail account and answer some of those questions. Sorry about that, guys. All right, next thing we've got here is we've got room for a key holder, which is long gone. I was looking through my key holders, and I have several, but I didn't have anything that would fit these holes. So what we do is we don't drill new holes. No, we don't. We cut this plate off and we drill holes to fit the holes in the drum. Because I don't really care about this key holder, but I do care about the drum. And so I want a key in there because that makes it look more original. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'll show you how I do that. Okay, like this key holder. This key holder is about 3/4 of an inch between the ends of these holes. So I'm going to take the wheel of death and cut it off there on each side. Just eliminate them holes. Do the other side, and then I'll round these corners off a little bit. Okay, I've got that key holder all cut and installed, and that fits pretty good. And I was digging through my old keys, and I happened to find one, an old Ludwig key. I actually found 2 of them. And one has the bigger ears, and I kind of like that maybe for this drum a little bit better. both the script logo, but actually the one in my right hand might be a little bit older. But I like this one. It fits in there pretty good. It kind of rattles if you were playing. But, you know, this drum isn't going to get played. It's just more to complete the drum. So, there's that. Okay, so this butt plate here will be next. As you can see, it's all rusted and it's really nasty. But we're going to clean it all up. It's going to look beautiful. Okay, maybe beautiful is too strong of a word to be used on that butt plate. It's not beautiful, but it's pretty nice. And it goes with the drum, and I like it. Okay, we're putting this throw-off together, and I've got the what I call the loom end. It's called something else, but look at on the end there. It's got the guy's initials on it, AT. I got thinking about AT, and there's an old Blue Note record called AT's Delight, Art Taylor. Check it out. It's a great record. Probably on YouTube if you want to check it out. Art Taylor, one of the great bebop drummers of all time. He was on more prestige records probably than anybody else. Okay, so we're going to install this now. Let's pop that on there. And I'm going to get some, I've cleaned all these threads real well. I'm going to get some gut snares out of my stash. I think I've got some around, and we'll install those, so that'll be coming off again. But for now, we at least got all the strainer assembled on the bottom side. Now we'll work on the top. Now there it is, Art Taylor, AT's Delight. This is probably early 60s Blue Note. You know, Stanley Turrentine, Wynton Kelly, Paul Chambers, Potato Valdez. Art thinking it over, having a smoke. And I don't think this was his drum. Of course I don't, but it just made me think of Art. Probably one of the most recorded drummers other than Roy Haynes and a few others in history. House drummer for Blue Note, Prestige, I think a few other labels, but really the house drummer for Prestige Records. I'm getting ready to install the bottom head and everything, and what I usually do is I take a piece of 4/0 steel wool, which is 4000, 4 zeros, and I clean up my bearing edges and I make them nice and slick all the way around. It doesn't take off any wood, it just cleans them, and you can actually see how they'll shine a little bit. And I'll also go around the inside of the shell with it and clean up any of the compound that was in there. I want it to look all like original. I want it to look beautiful inside. So I've done that, and I'm ready to install a few things. But what I do first is the badge area is usually there's some compound inside the grommet hole here, and I just cut off a piece of shirt or whatever, a piece of rag, and I put it through the hole, and I just kind of clean it like you would a gun barrel, and just kind of clean all that stuff out of there, get that thing to shine in there, and gets all the compound out of there, and then it's all beautiful in there. Okay. And what I've found is in my stash, I actually found some, this is more rope for the bottom head. And I must have taken it off a 15-inch Ludwig drum at one time. So we know these are going to fit this this 15-inch Ludwig drum. I'll take these and straighten them out and see how they look. I was just cleaning this bottom hoop, and I wanted to let you know that I do have a small ding in the hoop right here, right there, and I'm going to bang that out real quick for you. I'll show you how I do it. I put it on this block. I just take my ball peen hammer and carefully knock it out. And there it is. Okay, we've got the hoop cleaned, 8 of the tension rods and claws all straightened out, buffed out, and seated on the drum. I'm not in possession of 2 calfskin heads, so these are going to have to do. I don't like the look of it, but I will locate some calfskin heads. I thought I had them, but I guess I don't. So just to give you an idea how long this takes, this is a very labor-intensive restore. Each tension rod and claw takes about 5 to 7 minutes with the jeweler's wheel and the buffing. So that's about 7 times 16. And then the hoop takes a good 20 minutes. And then if you've got a rod that's bent, there you go, you've got another minute there. This is very labor intensive. And you never know what you're going to find until you start cleaning them. So I've gone ahead and seated this head on here. It's not going to remain on the drum. But I'm going to take it off now, and we're going to start installing the snare, the rope snare cords. Change of plan. I found these rope cords will not fit through these holes, and I'm not willing to open these holes up at all. I found some silk wire wound wires that will go on this, and I think that might be just really better. So I'll just show you how to install one of those. Pretty simple. It's all 2 snares is actually one piece. See, so you'll see it's bent around one corner, and you just one is installed here. One of the silk wires is on here, which makes 2, and you just keep putting them in each hole as you go. And then just pull them through here. And these are a lot longer. I'm sure these must have come off of a 15-inch drum. You have to have 15-inch wires in order to make these work. Probably best to pull one at a time. You don't want to stretch them out, so don't get in a big hurry. And there's that one. Let me just get this one here. Let me see here. All right. And that should be the same length. And yes, it is. Okay. So we just keep putting those in, and then we'll be ready to install our silk wire wound wires. Whoops, I did that wrong. I had to change it. They actually thread through from the back side. So just so you know, that way they have this little fold here. These came off of a different drum, so I don't know how they're going to lay. In time, I guess they'll stretch out. I'm going to put, let's see, I'm going to put this snare tensioner back together. I'm just going to thread it up a little bit. And then I've got to, you notice I don't have the hoop on. You don't want the hoop on when you're doing this. You got to get all the wires on first. So each one, you have to find the first one. Find out how it I hope you're seeing this, sorry. And then I've got these the way they should be. Let's see, they're really fiddly. That's the way they should be. So this one goes in first. I'm going to need to open this up a bit. This one goes in first, and then this one goes in. Let me see here. Quite a fiddly little. What do we have here? That looks about right. And I'll just leave those off to the side here and continue to weave them through there. When you're weaving your wires through the butt plate here, have your butt plate adjusted to where it's just enough to accept a wire and no more. Not tight where you can't get them in there, but not loose enough to where they can start going over each other and then you got a tangled mess. Because it sure looks like a tangled mess, but actually they're in order right now. I'm just going to put this last one in here. And then what I've got to do is I've got to get the tension on them. I want this knob here as loose as I can get it, just barely on a thread. That way when I want to, well, I think I'll go up about halfway up this ball here. Now what we'll do is I think this battery is ready to die, so you just pull each one. Let me get another battery. Yeah, I think that's going to be a little bit better. Let me zoom you in a little bit better. Be able to see a little bit what's going on here. And then you want to have a screwdriver that really fits these screws just right. So many times I see these screws screwed up. Okay, so once again, I'm just going to lightly tension these by eye. I'm just looking across this head here. See, can you see that? Just going by eye, one wire at a time, looking at them. We don't want them tight, really, because we'll be able to get our tension with that tensioning knob. So we got 4 of them here. Pretty good. This takes a while. So we've got 4 of them. And probably have to go back over it. It's not exactly a science. Well, it is a science, but it's not exact. Okay, so we've got that. Which one is it? This one here. Hard to find which wire you're on. There's that one, these 2. Just want to look at them now. Looks like these first 2 need a little bit of help. And we want to get them in the middle of the butt plate too. So we just slowly get them tuned up. I'm going to go ahead and tighten this thing right now and see how the wires look. Just a light tension. And then when I get this thing tensioning a little bit on this one side, I'll be able to look at these and see how they lie. You can see there's going to be some there's a few that are loose in the middle. These ones on the side aren't too bad, really. So I'll loosen it back up and go back over it. Okay, we've got these wires on there. And as you can see, they're pretty much centered on there pretty good. They have some bends in them, so I don't think I can get them perfect. They're quite old. I mean, they're almost 100 years old, so I've done what I can. I suppose you could get them a little better, but this would give you a pretty good sound here. I don't have the head exactly tight, but you know, it's a pretty good sound for a street drum. See if we can get that a little better.